You know, the biggest farce over in San Francisco is not our Prime Minister landing there on his 20th trip, leaving a mess in Australia. Now, what is embarrassing is the US dancing around China's dangerous dictator. And the Americans realise that, whoa, oh dear, Xi Jinping is going to see all those drug addicts and homeless people in our streets. San Francisco is terrible. And they might think, well, the US is falling apart. So just for this meeting, the addicts and homeless were cleared out. And when Xi did arrive yesterday, he saw a forest of communist Chinese flags. He must be laughing, thinking China really is taking over from crumbling America. And in their meeting yesterday, President Joe Biden pleaded with Xi for China to stop sending over the makings of fentanyl, which is the drug that's doing most damage to, well, so many US cities. But there was more, of course, to this meeting between the presidents, the two superpowers, that seemed on the brink of World War III. And joining me is Jack Keane, a retired four-star general, served as Vice Chief of Staff of the United States Army, and is now chairman of the Institute for the Study of War. General Keane, great to see you again. What do you read into this meeting between President Xi and President Biden?
Well, I don't dispute the fact that world leaders, even adversarial leaders, should have meetings. We had plenty of them dealing with the Soviet Union through the years, and at times, quite remarkably, they led to some treaty negotiations, particularly dealing with nuclear weapons. But my concern about this has always been the Biden administration's preoccupation with the value of the meetings. In other words, they are under the belief that by playing nice with China, they can actually change their behavior. And it's such a naive position to take. And I think it has a lot to do, frankly, Andrew, with the president. It's kind of old school here in terms of dealing with this and not facing up to the very harsh realities here that China and the United States really are adversaries, and we're not doing a very good job at all of deterring them from their aggressiveness in the region, something the people in Australia see on a regular basis. Their aggressiveness against the United States. You know, Andrew, they have intercepted our aircraft and ships 180 times in the last 2 years. That is absolutely exceeds anything that took place in the last decade leading up to that. And that's not to speak of their aggressiveness towards Taiwan and our other allies in the region. And we haven't sanctioned anybody in dealing with that. We have no plan to deter them from that activity. So I'm very concerned that China reads the wrong signals here. And that simply is that the United States leadership is weak. You can take advantage of them. And I think it brings us closer to war when you have that kind of weakness and your adversary is of the belief that the United States leadership is weak and the U.S. is in decline. I think that's kind of where we are.
Well, there's meanwhile another challenge, of course, to Western civilization in a sense, really. It's this war in Gaza. Israel trying to destroy the Hamas terrorists that rule there and slaughtered 1,200 Jews. How do you see that war going? Is Israel achieving what it set out to do, which is destroy the Hamas infrastructure?
Yes, they are about that business. It is the right objective to have. They've never had that objective before. It's always been in the past to destroy some of their infrastructure, kill as many leaders as they could and fighters, and then get out as quickly as they could before there was widespread international condemnation of the civilian casualties that were taking place, largely because Hamas offers up those civilians to be casualties. But this time, the military aim is very different. It's going to take some time. And if they don't accomplish the mission, they know full well now that if they don't dismantle Hamas, if they don't take the network down and its effectiveness as a terrorist organization and a military organization, and certainly as a governing body as well, then they're going to come back. They'll reset and reattack. And they know that, and that's why this military aim is so different, and it has to be accomplished. And that's the reality of it. And they are about doing that. We're watching this at the think tank I chair, Institute for the Study of War, and they're being very deliberate about what they do. But yes, they're taking the tunnel complexes down. They've taken down hundreds of miles of those. And certainly the other objective they have in mind is to get all the hostages back at some point.